The amount of people that go and simp for Absolute Batman always has boggled my mind. This Absolute DC universe is no different than anything else they've been doing for a long, long time. And Scott Snyder, he likes to ride the line and make most of his public social media accounts, as he should, about retweeting the work, retweeting people's reactions to it, making it a hype train on that. But he goes mask off very occasionally, and he did so in an AIPT interview just now. This is why they give interviews to companies like this, because they think nobody's going to call them on this nonsense. They think nobody's going to ask about anything other than like in a friendly way to where they can just say what they want. And there's no fear. As much as he talks about his greatest fears, he can spout his crazy political rhetoric, his anti-Donald Trump stuff. He can make his stories about this in DC Comics with impunity because nobody will ever question that. In fact, if you had anything else, you'd get blacklisted from the industry, much like I and many others have. And so this is where their sort of leftist privilege comes through, and it's such a smug sort of way of looking at things like, I'm so smart about this, when it's really actually dumb. And if you follow the storyline to its logical conclusion, and then based on who Scott Snyder is, it's really retarded. And so we'll get into this in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things in comics. I'm a comic creator myself, like I said, blacklisted from the industry. People like Scott Snyder, not himself, but others at DC Comics, mass reported me on Kickstarter to get me banned so that I can't compete because they didn't like that my comics were getting too successful. This is how these people operate. And so I would like you to sign up for my newsletter. We often run different campaigns on my own website or on Fund My Comic for my new books. And so we have to get my books out there this way to where I have to directly interact with you. Otherwise, they never get seen. And this is exactly how the left dominates and controls the culture and does this kind of thing. They don't like any kind of dissent. They don't like anybody who says anything differently. And it's really, really sad on this level. I actually asked, Scott Snyder always puts out calls for media outlets for Absolute Batman for review copies. And I always ask about it. He actually made a joke and laughed about it. It's like, okay, well, I am a outlet, and I actually get more views than almost everybody you give your outlets to. This AIPT Comics gets less than my Fandom Pulse right here in terms of views, for example. Comics Beat gets less. And yet they run to those little outlets where they get just complete shilling, and that's what they do, and that's all they want. It's totally a farcical thing. This is something that in 2014 reviews of games by Zoe Quinn in the gaming industry were shown to have just cronies reviewing things and just making things look like they're better than they actually are, and that's how these companies build hype. They don't actually want real reviewers to have advanced copies of things, and that's really a sad part of the industry. And so the reviews are always suspect on that level, and that's exactly this whole system that they've set up here. Ironically, it's what he kind of calls out as villainous in his books, but that's what they do. You got to remember, DC Comics is a corporation, and these media outlets that they service are also corporations that are controlling their message. And so they control the message through their fictional message. They control the message about the fictional message through the corporate message, and that way they can manipulate a certain amount of the populace. And that's exactly what they try to do. Very funny. I mean, Scott Snyder works for a giant corporation. I don't, right? That's the difference between us again. I'd be the absolute Batman in this situation. He'd be the absolute Joker, right? And so you get into this, and Absolute Universe in DC Comics has been all about political pandering this entire time, as much as everybody willfully ignores it. And this is what I don't understand. It is being willfully ignored across fandom, and it's been done so since the very beginning. We've had multiple race swaps of characters going on. Of course, the most egregious is the Green Lantern character, who's, a strong black lady, which they've done before in that Far Sector, which was a nightmare of a politics sort of storyline. Of course, Scott Snyder's done it himself with Barbara Gordon, and he refuses to answer any questions about it because he knows that kind of thing is just bad publicity to do that sort of thing to characters. But they do it over and over and over again. It's like they can't stop. It's like they have a fetish about doing that, erasing white people. Very, very weird, especially since most of these guys are white people doing it. They also have Denise Camp, who is one of the most crazy political activists in the industry, writing Martian Manhunter now. So while these are selling because of the hype train that they're building, and I will give them kudos, they have built a good hype train. This is something that is different. We have not seen anything like this out of Marvel and DC. They've been very, very good about staying on message, building that hype over and over and over again, and keeping these at the top of the charts. I don't know how much longer it's going to last. I mean, I've read Absolute Batman, And I mean, the art's pretty. The storyline's okay. There's it's not like I wouldn't like go. This is a top comic of all time or anything like that. But it's readable. I guess that's the bar now for mainstream comics. I mean, that's the bar, right? But these people are leftists, and the storyline is leftist in nature, and that's just kind of what they do every single time. So as you can see, Scott Snyder reposted this nonsense, and this is what they do. They retweet propaganda. Since Trump thinks the presidency should be used to attack someone's physical appearance, it's only fitting to show how he looks. This is an appearance thread. Stop here and post. So there you go. Donald Trump, a very, very elegant, good-looking man, of course, as we know. But yes, this is what Scott Snyder tries to repost. And the reason that he reposted this is there is a viral post by Trump going around saying that since Trump said he hated Taylor Swift, she's not hot anymore. And what he meant by hot is obviously like her sales, her standing among the public, but, hot in terms of something selling, like is absolute Batman hot. They're not talking about the character and his like stupid Rob Liefeld look being sexy. They're talking about it's a hot seller. And of course, people can't read anymore. Scott Snyder, I think the comic industry has trouble reading. I mean, they work in pictures after all. And so they can't parse that out. And so they go after propaganda. So this is the type of thing Scott Snyder does all the time. Now you got to remember, again, this is the weird part. There's Barbara Gordon, who's black. Dad, he's clearly not black, so okay. Odd there. And this is from one of the Batman books, Absolute Batman. You all saw Batman's feed, all Black Mask, and Black Mask is this like leader of this cabal that's trying to manipulate Gotham City and turn it into chaos, as they say. Is in chaos, once in chaos, right? And they always say the Trump presidency is chaos. This is a line directly from the mainstream media. Of course, Scott Snyder. The difference between Scott Snyder and some of these others is he's pretty good at filing the serial numbers off, so it doesn't feel directly like Trump. And we'll get into exactly why what he says, where he kind of goes mask off on this in a second. He's just a little better of a writer, and like I said, I give him quality props. Like he isn't a talentless hack like a lot of these guys, but he is doing the same thing, and that's why we have to call it out. He says, so maybe his cronies can profit or get control. Who knows? And this, again, is their feeling. Scott Snyder talks about how his feelings, his fears have to go into the comic books. And so, yes, he doesn't understand Donald Trump, and he doesn't understand Elon Musk and what they're doing. Maybe his cronies can profit or maybe get more control. Who knows? Again, if you start to like look at this sort of thing logically, Trump and Musk have so much money, have so much fame, have so much. They can do whatever they want and just live the rest of their lives and enjoy themselves and never be stopped in anything they want to do ever, right? They decided to get into this because they saw the country's falling apart, right? I mean, but to these guys, they must want more profit. It's like, well, why would a guy who's worth $1 gazillion need more profit? Like, what is he going to buy another yacht? Like, it's like another airplane. Like, okay. I mean, there's really not much that they can do here beyond the fact that they actually want to do something positive for the world. Otherwise, there's no reason to do it. It's really insane. And so that's where these people just don't understand the motivations of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, because in that position, they wouldn't be able to do, just do things out of the goodness of their hearts. And so that's that. But I mean, think about it. Trump's taken a bullet. I mean, it's like he takes harassment. He takes assassination attempts. He gets threats of being thrown in jail to do this. Like, there's no reason he'd want to go out of his way and just do this. It's absolute hell on him. But oh well, this is the caricatures they make. And this is, again, just why their villains usually fall flat, because the storylines just don't work in any kind of well. So this is what he says. AIPT asked about politics, and he said, I don't ever want it to feel like a direct corollary to reality. So look at this. The phrasing of this is very intentional. It's not, I don't write a direct corollary to reality. He didn't say that. He said he doesn't want it to feel like that. So he does take a direct corollary to reality, files the serial numbers off, and then does it the way he does. The Joker in our story is a longtime Davos attending, multi-company owning, entrenched evil figure. But I pitched that before we had billionaires openly manipulating our democracy. The world caught up. Okay, well, George Soros has been openly manipulating the democracy for a long, long time, and he's been doing it behind the scenes. And that, by the way, if you want to do something with evil power, that's how you do it. You don't directly run for things and put crosshairs on your head. I mean, that's retarded. So these people, again, just don't understand things. But yes, I mean, Trump and all this has been around for a long, long time. These people were flipped out about it even during the Biden administration. So no, you didn't pitch that before that. This is him trying to make it look like he's smarter than he actually is. Again, and it is a direct corollary to reality, and he is putting that in there, and he is making the political a part of this. Is what it is. If the thesis of Batman, this is also about the politics, is that he exists to go up against fear, and that's the context of this, then you got to put what you're afraid of in the book, and it just goes to show he's afraid of the right, just like everybody in the left. And this is they absolutely are, because they're in echo chambers. Scott Snyder would never talk to me about comics and go out there, because he's in abject fear, and that's crazy. Like, again, you're writing the biggest book for the biggest corporation, I mean, outside of Disney, at least the second biggest corporation out there, Warner Brothers, and you're in fear of a guy who's independently making comics and has a YouTube channel and commentary. Like, that's crazy. Like, I mean, that's how insane these people are. They were hit with the fear gas or whatever. It's like a Batman story, except for I'm obviously the Batman here calling out the corruption. And so this is what's going on. Like, I'm not afraid of any of these people. I would talk to Scott Snyder any day. If he wants to come on the channel, we'd have a big stream. I've seen him streaming, talking about these comics, and it's interesting. They go on these channels all the time, these DC Comics pros. I've seen it, Mark Waid, Scott Snyder, to like 5-10 people, like, live. That's it. Because they know they're safe there. They know they're not going to get questions. They know that the people in charge of those will ban anybody from the chat who has any sort of question that is not right in their wheelhouse, right? And so they know that they can just be in this little safe space. It's weird, though, because they don't actually get any promotion out of it, because the people who are on there, who are the hosts, are already buying the comic every week. And so what's that going to do? And then the people who are on my channel aren't buying the comic. Give us a reason, Scott. If you want to come here and give us a reason why we should be buying Absolute Batman, especially since in the face of the fact that it's about your hatred of Trump and Musk, I mean, tell us why. And you might actually convert some people. But oh well, this is how the comic industry has turned off half the country, and this is exactly what they do. So Absolute DC Universe, like, it is very, very much a political machine, as AIPT Comics has gotten out of this. And it's very, very sad to watch this. But, very few are going to call it out. Very few are going to see it, because the bar now is, it's pretty readable. It's fast-paced. There's some action. So we'll just ignore anything about it, because, the art looks pretty. And that is the bar of the comic industry, and that's why the comic industry is in such dire straits. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Check out my newsletter in the description below. Very, very important, guys. Get on here. Like I said, I'm banned from Kickstarter, banned from Indiegogo, banned from Patreon. There's, these guys have really done a number to try to make sure that my comics don't get seen, because they're very, very afraid, as Scott Snyder said, because they know that if alternatives get seen, they're not going to win for very long. That's all. Leave a comment down below. We'll see you soon.